That's right, guys. You see the title. Freedom isn't free. So you got, people want businesses. They want investments, right? They want financial freedom. They want time freedom. They want generational wealth, geographical freedom. All of the things, right? But if you do want those things, they usually come with a sacrifice, you know? They usually come with things that require you to walk away from things that you're comfortable with and that sometimes you may love, right? For example, some people may have to sacrifice time with their kids. They have to sacrifice time with their kids just so that they can go out there and build something meaningful so that they can leave them with a prosperous life, right? But the people who get ahead are usually the people that aren't going to do what the average do, and they're going to do what the average won't do, which is sacrifice. I mean, everybody sacrifice, but it's to an extent, and on what level are you going to sacrifice? So you want all of the things. People want to be rich. They want nice things, material things, a yacht maybe, a big house, nice car. I said they want actually total and complete control over their time. But freedom isn't free. You're going to have to invest, or you're going to have to spend something, whether it's financially, your money, your labor, your time, right? You're going to have to give something up, because freedom isn't free. And I don't know if most people understand that concept, you know? If you really want it that bad, you got to pay the price. And it's like, what are you willing to sacrifice, right? I had to sacrifice some things, some situations. I had to sacrifice my comfort zone. I had to pay the price of not being comfortable. I had to pay the price of severing relationships. One time, it was me and my friend at the time. I called him my brother, and we were dabbling in, illegal activity. This is the time when we were staying at his mom's house in East Trenton. Um, I don't know if you remember the time I was telling you about when I moved out from my parents' house at the age of 19, because we just hit a lick and we came up on some money. And at that time, we just hit two licks, and they both equaled up to about $10,000. You know, so I thought life was going smooth. You know, everything was going wonderful. Didn't have any real bills, just living life on my own terms. Yes, living life on my own terms. $10,000 between the both of us. We just rented out. Well, he rented his own room and I rented my own room. $600 a piece at his mom's property. For me, I did have a job, but it wasn't enough. So my side hustle was robberies. One day we came across a guy. Forgot how we got in touch with him, or I think I knew it was a girl that we knew, and that was her ex-boyfriend, I believe. And he sold drugs, controlled dangerous substances. We got in contact with this guy, and just say, "Oh yeah, I know such and such. I was just trying to get a couple grams off of you. Well, about 30 grams, right? It's about get 30 grams off of him. You know, he was I want to say a big time drug dealer, but he had enough, to service 30 grams. He lived across town out in South Trent. He was making some noise. One day we called him up, and I had I think I still had my Plymouth, or it might have been a Lumina, one of them, a gold Lumina. And we called him up. We rode out South Trent and we placed the order of 30 grams. And we had a gun at this time. We parked up, waited for him to come. He came. My friend got out of the car, hopped into his car. Before he hopped out of the car, he said, "All right, I'll be right back." It's just like smooth and easy because we were so used to it. He just got in, showed, he gave him the 30 grams. He just showed his piece. The guy said, just take it. And that's usually how it went, you know? And then, my friend would just get back in the car like nothing happened and we'll just walk away with the work, you know? Simple and easy. Just robbing drug dealers, right? And I'm not putting past my mind that this is a very, very dangerous game that you're playing because somebody can actually recognize you, because it's such a small town. Trenton, New Jersey is such a very small town, and you're playing a dangerous game that if you're robbing everyone, then soon, things will catch up to you. And I had to realize this. This is when I had to realize I got to get out of the robbery game. Yeah, it was easy and it was fast, fast money, just as fast as we come up, as fast as we lose it. And soon, things will fall. And I realized this. I had to step out of my comfort zone and change my circle. I had to change my life because it wasn't going down a path that I wanted it to. I wasn't going down the right path. And I knew soon that it would catch up to me. And I had to really do something about it. So I didn't immediately change my circle, but I did change my ways to where my circle wouldn't agree with it. I found my wife, and I actually met my wife through my friend because his wife, his girlfriend at the time was her sister. Yeah, so it was his girlfriend of a couple years, and it was her sister. I guess I'll get into that story another time, but of how our first night went, and our first night of meeting each other. One day, so I felt that I had to change my life, right? And started doing things that I started doing things that, like I would say, my circle didn't agree with, right? I married my wife. I became a husband. I had kids, and I wanted to structure a family, right? So I started doing those things, and then before you know it, my circle did start to dry up because now I had more time for my family and not the streets. So I had more time for my family and not the streets. So I had to sacrifice the comfort zone. I had to sacrifice the, just the hustle and bustle of basically uh, setting up licks and just hitting licks. And I didn't want that to be my life. So I sacrificed the comfort zone, my occupation, so to speak, quote unquote, at the time. Even though I did have a job, but I was getting more money by just robbing people. I slipped through the cracks. And like I said, I didn't change my circle or cut people off, but I did things, like I said, that were, not becoming of them. So it's like holding a mirror up to them, and it's like, hmm, do I want to go that route? Do I want to get married and lock down and have kids? And, because, my friend, when I did do that, it started to get to him. And he said, Swerve, that's my nickname. So he says, hey, Swerve, I ain't got time to be playing house. I'm trying to get it. Whatever that meant, right? He said, I'm not playing house, man. And at the time I was at his house, and he kicked me out. He got mad, and he was drunk. But later he apologized, and I accepted it, and I understood. Because now I'm choosing, right? And now I'm sacrificing our friendship, if it's a real friendship, right? I mean, it is. It's just feelings involved, right? Because now I'm not running the streets with you being your road dog, you know, your Code D, right? So, things happen. And this is what I mean. You gotta sacrifice. Freedom ain't free. It's not. If you want the freedom, then you gotta put in the work. And not only the work, you gotta put in the education, the time to educate yourself on certain things or the route that you really want to go. You gotta know what's going on. Because if you don't, you're gonna get swallowed up. You're gonna get swallowed up. And you'll ruin your life. Right? You will ruin your life. Just by making the wrong decisions. And anything can just happen in a split second. Right? Everything could be going good. And then the next minute, you're in a world full of trouble. And I didn't want that because I seen how fast things can happen. Just that fast. Your life could be turned upside down just off of one split decision. One split decision. So, the price of freedom is usually paid up front. So it's like you may have to work harder. Which I did. I went and got 2 jobs instead of one. You may have to give up some entertainment, right? You may have to save or invest instead of spend. You may have to, educate yourself and learn some things after work, even when you're tired. You got to sacrifice all of these things. The price you pay now, of not being in the comfort zone will pay off later. You have to sacrifice some things now so that, later you can enjoy it and reap the benefits, right? Plant the seed now. And this is what I was talking about, the future self. It's like how many people are really paying attention to their future self, or are they just living in the moment? Always get in tune with your future self. Always plan ahead, and always make the right decisions. Do what's right. Do what's right. All right, man. J Tuna 900. This is the Growth Hub, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.